Welcome back to a very, very special edition of the DraftKings Unreasonable Odds podcast. Steve Buchanan alongside Julian Edlow here. We have an extremely, first of all, we are in person.
Look at this.
Next to each other.
We're next to each other for the first time in a long time, and if you are watching, you can clearly see this is special. We don't deserve all this, but here we are.
No, we don't. We don't deserve any of this at all, but we are glad to be here. We are in beautiful Weehawken, New Jersey for the DraftKings Sportsbook Sports Betting National Championship.
The Sports Betting National Championship, Steve. You've now messed this up on 2 podcasts, so I'll clean up your mess. The Sports Betting National Championships, presented by DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. Here we are.
Now, I keep messing up because I'm so excited to be here that I can't even keep my thoughts straight. That's the problem here. But obviously, we are here to give you all the info on this event. Huge event that's going to be taking place between November 5th and November 7th, which also includes NFL Week 9. How about a little info on the event here? Because you know all this stuff here.
We have a lot of yes, I know. If I was allowed to compete in the event, I would definitely win the event. So I know all the rules. All right. So so basically you can enter this. The competition starts Friday night, November 5th at 6 p.m.
Yep.
You can enter it until Saturday at 6 p.m. though. So if you're listening to this later and the event has started and you are in a legal sports betting state, you can get in. You can enter on Saturday up till 6 p.m. Eastern and win this event. The betting window essentially goes all the way through Sunday.
Right.
You have to place your bets by 1 p.m. Eastern, by the kickoff on Sunday. Now, that includes, though, the 1 p.m. and the 4 o'clock window in NFL, and up to 6 p.m. tip-off in NBA.
Right.
You just have to get this in by 1 p.m. That's the last time you can bet on Sunday. Sports included, obviously NFL.
Yep.
We got the college football slate on Saturday and Friday night. And NBA. So basically 3 sports, a 48-hour window almost of betting, and I'll give the fees here essentially. It's the 10K buy-in.
Right.
Half of that is your bankroll, half of that goes to the prize pool. So just like you're playing a DFS contest, There's a tiered prize pool for first place and so on down. But that other $5,000 is your real bankroll for the event. So if you bet, if you're betting, with your $5,000 bankroll and you wind up with $10,000 in there, but you don't win the event, that $10,000's yours. That's real money that you're betting with. So that's essentially how your bankroll is gonna work. And limits are different for this. If you want to come in and bet $5,000 on an NBA player prop on Friday night to get yourself going, you can do that.
Right.
You normally can't do that, but you can do that in this event. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty special to award a sports betting national champion. That's kind of how it breaks down. And last time that we held this event, you had to be in New Jersey. You want to go ahead and give out the states because you can participate. Obviously, it's fun to be here. This is awesome. Look around.
Right.
But if you can't be here, you just have to basically be in one of these states.
There's a number of states where you're eligible to be in this here. We'd love to have you here in New Jersey. Obviously,
why wouldn't you want to come see Steve in person?
Right. That in itself is worth the 10K. People would pay more to see me in person.
It's really a discount if you think about it. Steve will shake your hand and say hello to you if you're here.
But at the venue here, we have a beautiful sports bar they have here, overlooking the Hudson River and the Manhattan skyline. Taking a quick peek over here to my right.
We're looking at New York City right there. Other people can't see that, but it's right there.
56-foot bar, LED walls, tons of TVs here. But truly, if you're in any of these states here, Arizona, Colorado, Ohio, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming, you are eligible for this event. So like Julian said, you still have time to get into this event if you want to participate. There is no other event out there like this. This is so unique. A chance to win a massive amount of money and sweat out some bets, really with an extra layer of skin, if you want to say, in this game.
I don't know if I like the extra layer of skin terminology. It was kind of awkward, but yes. More stake in the game. Let's put it that way.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one. Better.
I'm a natural. I'm a podcast host.
So on this show as well, though, we're going to be talking to, of course, Johnny Avello, DraftKings Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations. He's going to be joining us in just a little bit. We're also going to have Brady Kannon on the show from VSiN.
Yep.
VSiN was grateful enough to set up this beautiful set for us here and let us use this here for the podcast. He is going to be joining us here as well. We're going to talk to both of these guys just about the general strategy about going into this event. Of course, Johnny's going to have a lot of insight into this as well. And then to wrap up the show, of course, we'll give out some plays for Week 9 for plays over the entire weekend. So stay tuned for this jam-packed show. We have so much that we're going to get to and talk about, especially this event here in Weehawken, New Jersey. So before
we mention?
Go ahead.
$2 million are guaranteed here. Have we even said that?
I thought you said that, but you can reiterate
I feel like I didn't.
that.
So $2 million is guaranteed. That is the minimum that will be given out at this event.
And
a lot of money.
Anything that you win from your bets too. That is also part of it as well. So there's just money galore here in New Jersey. Come get a piece. Come get a taste. All right, let's grab Johnny Avello. We're going to talk to him, of course, one of our favorite guests on the podcast, get his insight into this prestigious event.
All right, welcome back into the Unreasonable Odds podcast. We are here. DraftKings Sports Betting National Championship is part of our 2021 Championship Series, and the commissioner of all of that joins us right now, Mr. Johnny Avello, in person, in the flesh.
Yeah,
we're here at the event.
Love to see it.
I don't know, is it odds are with Johnny Avello, or are we still titling the segment? I don't know, but we're here. We're at the event. Johnny, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you guys in person. We do a lot of stuff on Zoom, but we're actually together here, and it's a pleasure.
We were hanging out in the lobby last night. You caught us off guard, and we're like,
no, we were waiting. I was waiting to meet Johnny in person. I was here waiting for him. I was so excited. All right, let's dive into it. We are here. This is an awesome event. So exciting. Look around us. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, how excited are you here to be here live this year's event? Watch all of these players come out and compete in the Sports Betting National Championship this year, being here in the flesh.
Well, yes, how excited I am. I'm very excited because we did this event a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. We were going to do it last year, which COVID killed us, and weren't sure if we were, when we were going to do it again. And so here we are. In November, beginning of November, doing it, and I got to tell you, Kelsey, and we all know Kelsey, she's worked so hard on putting this together and been nervous through the way, and biting. I don't even know if she has any fingers left. Forget about nails. I mean, but I'm excited to see all of you guys and all the players that'll be showing up.
I mean, fortunately for her, she just got a shout out on the Unreasonable Odds podcast, so she's now famous.
Right. Yeah, you just put her on the map.
She's famous. She's famous in my eyes.
Yeah. All right, so talk about, so obviously we're here in Weehawken, New Jersey, over on the East Coast here. Just take us through some of the ways that some of our competitors made it here for this weekend. Obviously, there's a number of states that people are eligible to play in this event, but take us through how they got here this weekend.
Yeah, well, there's DFS qualifiers. That was one way to get here. There was pool qualifiers, because we run those free pools. There were pool qualifiers, and this is the other way they got here. That's how they got there. They put up, cold cash.
He needs some if you can help him.
Yeah. Or they could have, if they didn't do the cash, they did the credit card.
Yeah.
Right? They did it that way.
The Celtics were not supposed to win on Thursday night, but it's fine. We're here in New Jersey. I'm going to make it all back. All right, so let's look back at the last time we held this event. Obviously, this time around we got NBA, college football, NFL. What sports were bettors targeting in the event in the past?
I remember the last one. After day one, the leaderboard was a guy that parlayed a couple of alternate soccer lines. Yeah, so that's how he got the lead early. Now, what he did was he waited to see how everybody else was doing before he made his next play. He did not finish in the top 10 or so because guys went and were playing more of the traditional sports.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that weekend we had the NFC, AFC championship games, and so they were the two big betting propositions where guys just unloaded, when those two events came up. But it was exciting to watch guys changing leads and, how they got there. Some guys were trying, different strategies. But in the end, I remember the guy that won it, he had a big bet on the final game.
And, it's very similar because, I was at the Fantasy Baseball World Championship, seeing the leaderboard change so much. That's kind of the same realm here, too. And you kind of answered this already, but, just want to give a little more perspective on this. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can approach the strategy for this one. I mean, you have a 5K bankroll that you can pretty much use on anything, however you want to use it during this event here. So that's one strategy that you've seen. Has there been other things that you've seen players do to try to capitalize, get at the top of the leaderboard?
Well, there's a new bet that we introduced since the last, and that's same game parlays.
Yes.
Right.
And so that could be used because if you could put 5 or 6 of those together for a decent bet, you could put some telephone numbers together.
Right.
So
That's a good way to put it.
that could move you up that leaderboard real quick. So that may be one strategy some use. Some may just try straight bets and keep doubling up and try to hit 6 or 7 of those in a row. That's always a way to go. But hey, different guys have different ways of getting there.
The same game parlay is going to be a game changer.
Massive.
Somebody's going that route, coming out of the gates, swinging with a big one, whether it be Friday night, Saturday college football, whatever. All right, so what is the one part of this weekend? I know there's a lot that is going to be really exciting here, but what is the one part that you are looking most forward to this weekend?
Well, I'm looking forward for everybody getting together in this room because or rooms, I should say. We have a couple of different locations.
Oh yeah, we took a tour around here.
I'll tell you what really impresses me before I answer that question is I'd love to play just outside all weekend. I mean, with that view of the city and
Beautiful.
That's just a great atmosphere out there. Now, I'll tell you what I hope goes well, and I feel it will, is just everything we do technology-wise. That's always my biggest fear anytime we have a contest is please let everybody get their bets in. Please let the system work right. Please let the leaderboard update. Please let the, the audiovisual stuff work right. That's always what I'm That's the kind of stuff that just keeps me up. That's all.
The good news is we got you on no problem, though. So the day is starting off well. Everything is going well so far.
It's a good start.
I was going to say, I already got what I was looking most forward to this weekend. I just wanted to see Johnny Avello slam a wad of cash on the table on the Unreasonable Odds podcast, and it already happened. My weekend's made.
Fresh from Vegas, too. It's got that Vegas smell as well. Crisp. Yeah, those bills are being printed out there. Well, Johnny, thank you so much for joining us here. Really looking forward to this event. And as we mentioned here, to the commissioner of it all, Johnny Avello, one of our favorite guests. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Let's have a really fun weekend.
Absolutely.
We will.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, Brady Kannon from VSiN will be joining us as well. We'll do a little Know You Better, one of our favorite segments on the show, and we'll also talk some of the strategy for this event as well. Stay tuned.
All right, everybody, welcome back into the Unreasonable Odds podcast. If you're watching, as you can see, we have another guest at the table. Welcome in one of our friends from VSiN, host Brady Kannon. How you doing, man? Welcome to the event.
Yeah, what an event, right? How about DraftKings? Congratulations to DraftKings, first of all, for throwing this for the second time.
Yes.
I hope they continue to do it year in and year out. The Sports Betting National Championship. I mean, I love it. We talked about this on VSiN. We had a deal, where we were kind of talking about, we had Johnny, who you guys just had on the program, Johnny Avello, and we were talking about, why not have this? You have the Stanley Cup. You have the NBA Finals. You have the Super Bowl. You have the college basketball national. Why not a sports betting national champion?
This is our Super Bowl, right?
Oh, fantastic.
This is 2021. Get with the times. That's what's in now,
That's
Absolutely.
Right. I love it.
Brady, you're at VSiN, obviously, our good friends. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us how you ended up there.
Well, I came to Las Vegas 27 years ago in radio, in sports radio. And I did that for a couple of years and then got into the golf business and still dabbled in radio just a little bit. And then actually 10 years ago, right around 10 years ago, almost to the day, I won the Westgate Super Contest. And that was a massive high point in my sports betting career. And I kind of accelerated the radio stuff with that championship and got more involved in it. And then when VSiN came around about 5 years ago, I certainly reached out to those folks and said, hey, I've done radio, I've done this, I've done that, and, I'd really like to be involved. And here we are. So here we are at the Enview Hotel at the Sports Betting National Championship about 4 years later. I've been with VSiN about 4 years now. So
nice.
All right, so what we play when we have new guests on this podcast is a little game called Know You Better.
Mm-hmm.
Learn a little bit about your betting history. You already alluded to something which I think ties in extremely well to this question. We start with everybody's favorite win in their betting career, and that can be whatever, the highest plus odds, the largest amount. You already won a sports betting contest like this. So I'm going to go ahead and safely assume that that is your favorite win.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that win, about your strategy in that win, because it's an event similar to this in ways. We want to know everything.
Well, I think my strategy has actually changed in that contest, which was 10 years ago. When we won the Westgate Super Contest, there was 517 participants that we were competing against, and that was a record number at that time. Now you've got, pre-pandemic, there was 3,500 people in that contest. Now, in this season's edition, I believe there's about 2,000.
Wow.
So I think when there's 500 people, your strategy is just to pick winners. It's that simple, right?
That is great
Just
advice.
pick winners. But now when you're not only necessarily competing against the number and the game, you're now competing against 2,000 other people.
Sure.
I believe that is different than competing against a field of 300 or 500 or whatever, like it used to be back in the day in that particular contest. So I think you have to involve game strategy and not. Yes, you have to pick winners. Ultimately, that's the highest priority. But they're in a contest, and I think like in this contest too, there are different types of winners. Mm-hmm. There's a winner that everybody's on. There's a winner that nobody else has, and then there's a winner that goes opposite of what everybody else has. And that's probably the most powerful winner.
Yes.
Okay, so I think you kind of have to alter your strategy a little bit when you're playing against a field of that many people versus a smaller field.
And I think something that's worth pointing out too is all the points that he's making. Very, very similar to daily fantasy when you're playing in these large tournaments too.
Yeah.
Like very similar here, like you said, like the winner that nobody has. So somebody that's like a super play on any given week. So I think that's some really good points to bring up. Going with the Know You Better segment that we have here. So you obviously have your favorite win. That's a great one. What's the worst loss that you ever endured? Like the one that's just like entrenched in your memory and it gives you nightmares that you just can't stop thinking about.
Thankfully it wasn't for a large sum of money. But,
good to hear.
But the worst, it was the surest thing you could ever be sitting on that didn't come out was the Super Bowl.
I thought I was going to say, he's going to say the Heat from last night?
That one was never even...
The Super Bowl, the Super Bowl when the Patriots beat the Seahawks and Russell Wilson threw the interception, right? And everybody's on Pete Carroll to, why didn't you give the ball to Marshawn Lynch? I had a prop bet that I placed in Las Vegas that the last touchdown, the last score of that game would be a rushing touchdown.
Oh, my God.
Why didn't you hand it to Marshawn Lynch, Pete Carroll?
That's brutal.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, okay, this
it's right there for the taking.
And he throws the pick, and
unbelievable.
So that one was pretty tough, but that was probably, I think, where I was the closest to cashing that ticket.
Sure.
I was already walking to the window.
Yeah, of course.
And how many other thousands of people were ready to see Marshawn Lynch get the ball,
of course,
and win the Super Bowl for the Seahawks.
The only person that didn't have that in mind was Pete Carroll. Everybody else had that in mind.
Right.
I think that's actually the first Super Bowl play that we've heard in this segment.
I think so.
We get a wide variety of things.
Do.
Like we've heard about
we got NASCAR.
NASCAR
recently.
We've heard hockey ones. Two sports that we know absolutely nothing about. So you're in the wrong podcast if you're waiting for that. But I think that's the first time we've got a Super Bowl.
You know what? It's fun. Obviously, the Super Contest is the high water mark.
Yeah.
In my sports betting career. But when I first came to Las Vegas in 1994, one of the first bets I ever made, which was probably 6-8 months later. I used to do a show out of the MGM Grand for this radio network that I worked at, and the Kentucky Derby. Growing up, I never knew, I never cared about the Kentucky Derby.
Sure.
Then I got in Vegas. I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how fun this was. And so I used the very elaborate handicapping system of what trainers and jockeys stiffed us that didn't come on our show and which ones did and which ones were cool, and that's how I handicapped the race, right? Well, I ended up on Gary Stevens at Thunder Gulch at 25-1 and put like $3 across the board on him or something like that. That was a really cool win when I was about 20-something years old. So.
All right. Well, obviously, you've been at this for a while. And so one of the things that we do in this segment is try and talk, whatever you want to call it, betting trends, betting info. A lot has changed over the years. Like I always tell everybody when we preface this question, last night for Thursday Night Football, I can give you any trends I want that tell you the Colts are the side. I can give you any trend I want that tell you the Jets are the side.
Mm-hmm.
You can dig up anything. What are some numbers? What are some trends? What is a piece of your handicapping that you think holds the most value right now?
I'll tell you one in the NFL that I think is really powerful, and we do have one situation this week, is when an underdog wins outright, and then the following week they assume the role of a road favorite. It's profitable to go against that team, and you have that in the New England Patriots this week. The New England Patriots won outright as an underdog against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 8. They are now in the role of the road favorite at Carolina. I'm definitely looking at Carolina. I'm monitoring the situation with Sam Darnold and his health.
I was going to say, if it's P.J. Walker, is that still a spot?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't play the Patriots. I can tell you that. But
well, it's funny too because we said off air, if it's P.J. Walker, do we actually like the Panthers better? If it ends up being P.J. Walker.
We've seen that recently, right? Cooper Rush.
Right. Look at these backups.
There's a very good chance you're going to have Colt McCoy going against the 49ers.
Yeah.
And you know, I actually, you know, that's another kind of trend thing, the fallen hero theory, where the team rallies the troops around the backup when their hero has been injured. Russell Wilson went down Thursday night in the game against the Rams. Geno Smith comes out the very next week against the Steelers, and I was on Seattle. They covered the number. Because I think that first game with the replacement player, there's an inspiration in the team, and it often plays out.
We haven't even mentioned Jordan Love going for the Packers this weekend.
I like that side too.
Right. Yeah, that feels. I mean, especially for the Chiefs being as bad as they've been against the spread. You know what I mean? Now it comes out and the spread went up 7.5 points. Is that what opened back up?
Yeah,
as?
Basically, it closed a pick, came back out at 8, I think, at DraftKings
correct.
Sportsbook.
Yeah,
and now we're floating around 7.
Now there's kind of basically I think 7 is the consensus, but there are some 7.5s, I believe.
So on that idea, what are some trends that you just completely ignore? And obviously there are a lot.
The random ones, you know.
Sure.
How this team performs against the NFC South on
yes.
Wednesday.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
I
yes.
think I like trends, but you have to read between the lines.
Yep.
And what is that trend telling you?
Right.
Why is this occurring 75% of the time? And if it makes a lot of sense, then I talk about the roll from underdog that wins outright into the role of road favorite. Well, maybe that line's a little. Maybe we're getting too happy with the Patriots right now. Maybe that line is becoming elevated. So I think there's a reason for that. But the trends where it's just really random, then I think you push those to the side.
Love it.
All right, so obviously we're at an event here for, some heavy hitters are going to be here. This is a bigger event. But state by state, so many states are becoming legal now for sports betting. And we listed them off at the top of the show, how many states you can participate in this event from, whereas the last one was just Jersey. So we asked this to everybody. The one thing you're not allowed to say, because this is the most important answer, is being responsible, managing your bankroll. But your best advice for new sports bettors?
Gosh. Well, I think the most important advice for sports betting, for gambling, I was told this when I moved to Las Vegas so many years ago. Don't ever mess around with more than you can afford to lose.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of goes against what you just told me not to say. But, gosh, there's sports betting, as you guys know, it's such an intricate space.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many levels. There's that side of the counter. There's this side of the counter. There's head fakes in the market. There's real moves in the market. It's a fascinating market, if you will, or industry that I think takes years to study. You guys just spoke with Johnny Avello. How long's he been doing it? Does he know it all? No. And Vinny Malauulu, who's a great friend at VSiN, we learn something new in sports betting every day, and I agree with that.
Yep.
So as a new sports bettor, I would just say be responsible and take it slow, because you're not going to figure it out in a day.
Absolutely. Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that's so important, too, because it's so easy to have, a bad night like Julian just had last night and say, like, I'm absolutely done with this. I'm not going to do this anymore. But, like,
I'll do it again.
And but we say this on the show all the time, like, especially with sports betting, daily fantasy, all that. It is peaks and valleys. You're going to have those good nights. You're going to have those bad nights, and not let it deter from your specific strategy or how you research these things. Because while it may not hit, and last week in the NFL is a perfect example. Look at how many underdogs hit last week. That is not normal. That is not going to happen every single week, too. But people look at that and go, oh, now I got to keep getting on all these underdogs. Like, it's going to level out at some point. So I think what you're saying is a very good point.
Well, I think what you say there, it's going to level out, it holds true. And that could be advice for sports bettors, too.
Sure.
The 3 weeks prior, for the most part, we saw sports books get killed with a lot of favorites coming in.
Yeah.
So you have to know as a sports bettor, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned veteran, that things are going to adjust. And certainly they did in Week 8, where a lot of the underdogs came in. So you have to try and time that correctly and anticipate that type of adjustment, because you're right, it absolutely will happen. It's not going to, favorites aren't going to win all year long.
Right. Go ahead, Steve.
So just getting back into this event a little bit here, like, what are some of your strategies for this event specifically? We talked to Johnny. Some people are saying that there was somebody last year or a couple of years ago who made some soccer plays early and was up at the top of the leaderboard, then kind of stayed back and watched what the rest of the field were doing, and then kind of jumped back in. Like, what kind of strategy are you looking for in this weekend?
One thing I think that is very interesting is the fact that everything begins on Friday night.
Yep.
And you can still, if you lose all your bankroll, what have you, you can re-enter on Saturday. So just from that standpoint, I would probably try and win big on Friday.
Sure.
Exactly.
If you have the wherewithal to go ahead and re-enter, if that's a part of your plan, that's a backdrop for you, that's a possibility, then I would probably be kind of aggressive on Friday, and maybe you just make one bet. Maybe you make a $5,000 bet on one prop or whatever it is, or maybe
parlay.
Divide that.
If you want to hit big on Friday night.
Don't do.
I know that you. Well, but that's different. That's so specific to this event. It's different. Like, if you're somebody that has the bankroll to potentially enter twice and you want to hit big on Friday night to see if you're
maybe a two-team parlay or something.
Right.
Maybe
I'm not saying to slap everything on the board together,
parlay.
but
no, that's exactly what we're kind of getting to the same thing here. Is maybe play something where you can hit it for a big score, and if you do, then you're sitting pretty. You're way ahead of everybody.
Yep.
For a while, and then you go into kind of maybe your normal pattern of how you're going to attack this. But that would be my initial strategy, I think, if I was participating in this. After that, I think the strategy's difficult. We talk about the Super Contest, and that's over 20 weeks of football.
Right. Yeah.
Here you are in 20 hours or whatever, 2.5, 3 days. That's not a nut I have cracked yet.
And then just going off that too. Kind of putting you on the spot here a little bit, but looking at this weekend board, is there any bet or any play that you're kind of looking at and you're like, that's one I would definitely want to be hitting on?
Well, we kind of touched on a few of them. I'm certainly looking at the Panthers. I made the line 2 in that game. It came out 2.5, but then was immediately bet up all the way to 4.
Yeah.
Now it's back down to 3.5, and it's kind of interesting that the market has bet it down to 3.5, even though there is still uncertainty about Sam Darnold.
Right.
So I think that's very telling there. Looking at the Panthers, also looking at the Denver Broncos getting 10 points against the Cowboys.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, and not that this Denver Broncos team is all of a sudden great again because they beat the Washington football team, but I do think they're a decent team, and I think 10 points is too much. I made the line, I think I made it 6. And
crossing a lot of key numbers there.
Right. Are you going to tease Denver up to 16? You're not necessarily crossing key numbers there. It's probably not very profitable to tease Dallas down. I just think playing it straight and taking the 10 with Denver, I think that'll be the right side. Teddy Bridgewater, unbelievable record.
Teddy covers.
Teddy covers and
Teddy accuracy. The guy is he hits everybody. He's so incredibly accurate.
Couple things there, right? Just like handicapping 101, you talk about beginning sports bettors. Take an underdog that has a good defense.
Yeah.
Okay, check Denver, right? A quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, check Bridgewater. Him. So, they check a couple of boxes there that they shouldn't play themselves out of this game quickly.
No, I agree with you.
I'm liking Denver. I like that conversation. I've been watching that number just go up all week, being like, when does this make me pull the trigger on the Broncos? We might be there now that we're in double digits. I'm All right. That's a segment, huh?
That's the segment, baby.
All right. Brady Kannon from VSiN joining the Unreasonable Odds podcast. Thanks for coming on, man. We're looking forward to hanging out this weekend.
Absolutely. Going to be a great one. Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
it. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Julian and I will be back to go over quickly the weekend board, get you set for this event and for any bets that you want to make at home as well, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Unreasonable Odds podcast. Steve Buchanan, Julian Edlow just wrapped up with our second guest of the show here. Got a lot of insight into this event. Any quick takeaways from Johnny or anything that we got?
My quick takeaways are that I'm starting to like the Broncos with the 10 points.
We're going to talk
How about yourself?
Yeah, well, I still don't know if I want to take the Broncos.
Okay.
Here's my thing about the Broncos is the secondary looked fantastic the first 3 weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely collapsed after that. Now you're getting the Cowboys with Dak Prescott presumably back in this one. I know C.D. Lamb is dealing with a sprained ankle. Don't know what his status is going to be officially for that one there. But the Cowboys can beat you in so many different ways. But 10's an enticing number. That's the thing there. If this was under 10, I think I would be siding with the Cowboys, but getting it at that double-digit number, I will say has me thinking about the Broncos more, but that's one of those plays that I would not feel good about taking regardless.
All right, that makes me like it even more.
Okay.
All right.
What's wrong with this guy?
Contest strategy. Is there anything contest-wise, because we've talked about it with Johnny, we talked about it with Brady, is there anything contest strategy-wise that you want to bring up that you think we haven't touched on?
I thought it was really interesting when Johnny was talking about the player who did the soccer bets early and then kind of waited back to see where everybody was landing after that, because that's such a unique approach. Because like in daily fantasy, once it's locked, that's it. I mean, obviously you can make late swaps and whatnot, and that's kind of the same idea. But
no soccer parlays this time around.
No. But it certainly puts
which is unfortunate because that's my specialty. That
is not at all. But it's unfortunate. That's not something you can do in daily fantasy too much, but it's interesting because, he positioned himself at the top of the leaderboard and then kind of saw, kind of almost controlled his own destiny, I guess, if you want to say, to see how the rest of the field was too. So that's really interesting that I thought that came out of that, and something that actually, if I was in this, win a lot of jackpots over here, maybe enter myself if I could, but it's just an interesting strategy and something that's kind of outside the box.
Yeah, totally. All right. Anything we need to get to before our best bet segment, which obviously we are also rebranding somewhat as teaser time because we're a teaser podcast.
We certainly are. No, I think we should do the teasers now.
It's teaser time.
Well, let's not do that again.
Teaser time. Go.
Okay. All right, teaser time. The easiest leg to take in this one, and I'm hoping you agree, is the Ravens going against the Vikings. Now, if I recall, were you actually on the Vikings side earlier this week? Did you like the Vikings at +6?
No.
No? Okay.
Baltimore.
Okay. So we're in agreement on that. So teasing Baltimore to start, get them down to basically a pick. You just need them to win now. Okay.
Yes. And really quickly, I'm trying not to overreact to how pathetic the Vikings were on Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys. Let's look at the Ravens side of this. They're off an embarrassing loss to the Bengals as 6.5, 6-point favorites. They're off a bye. Harbaugh's 9-4 ATS off a bye with Baltimore. This is a great spot at home for the Ravens.
Yep. So I'm taking the Ravens, and then I'm putting it with the Cardinals, getting them up to +8. That's
without Kyler Murray.
Without Kyler. Okay. Kyler Murray is out officially?
Look at the number. What do you think's going to happen?
But
potentially Hopkins, too.
Well, yes, I do know that. But I feel like with the weapons that the Cardinals have...
You really think the Cardinals are 2-point dogs to the Niners right now and Kyler Murray's going to play?
Kyler Murray has...
I need a new podcast co-host.
No.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Kyler Murray hasn't been playing to his full potential. Obviously, he hasn't been running at all. He has less than 30 rushing yards over the past 4 weeks.
Okay.
What has San Francisco shown, though, that they can still beat the Cardinals?
I mean, the quarterback's not going to play. That's the part that I'm touching on.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm
just saying maybe stay away. I don't need to necessarily get involved until we get official word on anything.
Well, here's the best part about this is that it's not your bet, so you can make your own. But
I'm going to fight with you.
No, that's fine. That's what people like. That's what content's about.
Great.
So give yours then.
Okay, Baltimore, already explained.
Fine.
That's the first leg. Second leg, we're going to Sunday Night Football. We're taking the Rams from 7 down to 1. Win against the Titans.
Yep.
The Rams are loaded.
Right.
And you got this Tennessee team coming in, riding off a high. They beat down the Chiefs in embarrassing fashion. They get the road overtime win in the division as underdogs over the Colts. And it doesn't line up necessarily with Brady's theory where a underdog gets the win outright and then is favored on the road the next week. But they are going on the road for a big game here. And then no Derrick Henry. How is this offense going to function first game without Derrick Henry? The Rams are getting this win. The Ravens are getting this win. Wrap it up.
But
take the money.
True story. Being serious here. Why is it only -7 though?
Well, how high can you make it? Tennessee's 6-2.
I understand that, but Tennessee also just lost their best offensive piece. They're going up against one of the best secondaries in the league.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't feel a little trappy? Like,
No.
that doesn't feel like one of those too good to be true numbers?
Well,
That's
this
what
is
it
my
does to
bet
me.
now.
So, well, I'm fighting you on it.
Yes.
But you can't say that this number is not too good to be true. With everything that the Rams have, like they won't be able to stop Cooper Kupp at all. They have one of the worst slot corners in the league. Like, I worry about that number. That's all. Just because I feel like that should be higher. With everything that's happened with Tennessee, I understand your mentality that they're 6-2.
I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much higher you can make this.
Right.
It doesn't feel trappy to me. No.
Okay. That's fine. Because
Great.
it's your bet.
Good. Great. Grand.
Real quick, because this is obviously one of the bigger stories of this week. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers ruled out due to COVID. So now we're going to be getting Jordan Love. As we mentioned earlier in the show, this was a pick at the time. Came off the board. Opened back up at, was it 8 that it ended up opening back up at? And then it was bet down to 7.5. Is that what the number was?
Yeah.
So what side do you take now? Because as we've mentioned on many times during the show, the Chiefs have been one of the worst cover teams in the league, really since dating back to last year. And now you have them as 7.5-point favorites going up against a backup quarterback, Devontae Adams, who is coming back from COVID. How efficient is he going to be? Alan Lazard also coming back from COVID. How effective is he going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Do you take the Chiefs at this point, or are you on the Packers side?
No. Packers plus 7.5 or pass for me.
Wow. Yeah.
This line move of a touchdown, it's an overreaction. It didn't even... I mean, the Adams one was an overreaction too, and we went with the Packers, or you didn't, I did. I went with the Packers against Arizona. Yeah, this is one, I've got my teaser with the favorites.
Yep.
But other games I'm looking at are probably mostly underdogs. The 7.5 with the Packers, the 10 with the Broncos. Like, this is a Packers or pass for me. Big stage.
Are the Chiefs a teaser leg though?
See, I originally tweeted out, when this line reopens 6.5, 7, Chiefs a teaser leg. I can't do it. I can't do it. They squeaked by the Giants. The Packers are a really good team that are putting a first-round talent quarterback into the mix. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but Jordan Love should take advantage of this opportunity.
Yep.
I like the Packers plus 7.5.
Man, I know. Like my heart agrees with you.
Okay.
But
all NFL season, if you feel uncomfortable hitting submit on your bet with a dog, with a quarterback we haven't seen, you're generally winning.
Right. That's exactly how it's gone, too, this year. It's been absolutely wild, too. Any other games that you were kind of looking at as well? I kind of want to go back to the Bengals, even though they destroyed everybody last week against the Jets, who had the second coming of Mike White, who is now injured and probably done. But only 2.5 against the Browns, who are just feeling like they're falling apart on the field, off the field. Odell Beckham
But you
Jr.
you get rid of OBJ, you maybe bounce back. I can talk myself into this being a good spot for both teams, so I don't know if I'm going to be on that game.
The OBJ thing is...
Imagine, before you even go, imagine you're sitting here saying you feel like you have to take the Bengals minus 2.5 against the Browns.
Yep.
Imagine thinking that before the season.
Right. No.
Like, the Bengals are minus 2.5 against the Browns. I have to take them.
Yeah, at home. Yeah, right. But the OBJ thing is not a needle mover for me at all because he was very seldom involved to begin with.
Well, no, I'm saying it helps the Browns.
Right. No, for sure. But But I look at that as like, is that going to be one of the overreaction pieces that we're talking about? Because people see the name OBJ, oh, he's gone. What's that going to do to this offense? But he wasn't really involved to begin with. Obviously, Kareem Hunt still on IR as well. Just 2.5. If this was 3.5, then I think I could pass. But 2.5 just feels a little bit too low against the Browns at home too.
I won't argue with anything on this game.
Yeah. Yep. It's a tough one.
Anything else before we get out of here? I got one thing.
Go ahead.
Friday night.
Yeah, I'm out.
College football.
I'm out.
Chestnut Hill. Boston College Eagles.
Oh, he's been talking
They're
about
getting
this
their
for days.
quarterback back. Phil Jerkovic, ranked by Phil Steele, the number 7 overall quarterback in the nation. It sounds like he is coming back for this game. It's the red bandana game.
He's been talking about this for
at
days.
home Friday night. I have been looking off camera,
Yeah,
breaking the third wall.
He's been talking about this for days.
Ruining the podcast.
The third wall.
Eagles. Money line. They're laughing. They're laughing in my face, and I will be laughing in their face when Boston College wins this game at home. Red bandana game. Big win for the Boston College Eagles. You can thank me later. That's a podcast.
What is red bandana game? I don't
Come on,
follow it.
Steve.
I don't follow it.
Okay, I mean, Google it. Just Google it.
Very
I'm not going to get into it in
informative.
the podcast. It has 9/11 ties, emotional ties. A hero that went to Boston College that lost his life in 9/11. His red bandana was found at the scene of it. They wear the red bandana jerseys. The Eagles are coming out emotional win on Friday night. Google it.
Oh, see, now you could talk me into it.
Now Steve likes it.
now
After everyone laughed in my face,
now
I'm not going to scream too loud and ruin my levels as the production team has been telling me. I'm going to stay calm, cool, and collective here.
All right. That's going to wrap
us up.
That's going to wrap it up for the Unreasonable Odds podcast. We hope you enjoyed this very special edition as we come to you live from Weehawken, New Jersey. Massive event going on here. Like we said, you can still enter up until Saturday. So if you're listening to this tonight on Friday, you can still come here. We'd love to see you here. 10K, see Julian Edlow, lose some bets, see myself before I leave Saturday morning. There's a lot of stuff that you can see.
I'll be here all weekend.
A lot of money.
I'm a little bit more valuable of a piece to DraftKings, so I'll be sticking around.
A lot of money to be won here as well. So for Julian Edlow, for Steve Buchanan, we'll catch you next week.